The Prime Minister continually claims we have finally taken back control of our country, specifically our waters. Now we are outside the European Union. This messaging has been key to keeping Conservative electoral momentum high in typically Labour voting areas. The voters in these regions like Hartlepool, devastated by decades of EU membership, are desperate to finally see change. But despite the government's promises, it appears little is coming anytime soon. In a recent Freedom of Information request to the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs, DEFRA, Get Britain Out has found that since the start of this year not a single application, from a fishing vessel of any country, for a license to fish inside the UK's exclusive economic zone, EEZ, has been rejected. As a result, there are now 1,659 foreign vessels licensed to fish in the United Kingdom's waters. All of the vessels' sizes vary, including a total of 68 boats over 164 feet in length and 8 super trawlers over the length of 328 feet. This makes a mockery of the government's messaging and exposes the complete lack of action on behalf of DEFRA. The Conservatives will undoubtedly continue to do well across the north of England as local election results roll in. However, the Prime Minister himself has conceded these votes have been temporarily borrowed, because people had become exhausted with local Labour politicians not sticking to their promises. If the government want these borrowed votes to stick around until the next general election, then promises must be delivered, starting with fully delivering Brexit and properly taking back control of our waters. The Prime Minister has had great electoral success through his messaging of Brexit being done, combined with the vaccine rollout. However, if the Conservatives want to stay in power beyond the next general election and keep these new votes, promises of taking back control must actually be delivered upon, rather than simply being more empty rhetoric. With such a large number of foreign vessels allowed to fish our waters, with not a single rejected license, how can the government claim we have taken back control of our waters or expect the UK fishing industry to recover? We are doling out fishing licenses willy-nilly and getting zero in return, except for threats. First of all, we had the blockade of St. Peter Port in Jersey and now more threats of a blockade in Calais. The reality is the EU, and in particular the French, seem to believe they should be given free rein over another country's land and sea, and unfortunately, the current UK-EU trade and cooperation agreement all but confirms this. It is about time Prime Minister Boris Johnson got his act together. Instead of making vague announcements about his new white paper on so-called levelling up, he should get on with placing the bill in front of Parliament and stop simply talking about it. Then our blue wall is still very vulnerable, and after trusting the Conservatives with their votes for the first time in Hartlepool and in many councils around the country this week, if promises are not kept, you can be sure there will be a substantial backlash.